Okay, thank you very much. So the Executive Director, Center for Financial Literacy Education, distinguished invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed. I must say a big thank you to the organizers of today's event for such an honor to present on the broader theme, Financial Literacy, a tool for wealth creation and economic development. Before I start my speech, I would like to conduct a quick poll, okay, to find out the number of people here that employ tax planning strategies in their daily financial planning. So if you have an idea and you use tax planning in your financial planning, just give me a wave. Okay, that is fine. Don't worry. That's why we are here today. One would ask, what is the role of taxation in financial planning? Okay, since paying taxes do not directly benefit the taxpayer. So I believe people are wondering why tax GRA and all that. I mean, how do that help me to plan my taxes? But permit me to share a quote from the Bible, okay? For it is written in the book of Mark, and Jesus answering said unto them, render to Caesar, the things that are Caesar's. Now, giving what belongs to Caesar does not mean we cannot take what Caesar has freely given us in the books of Caesar, which is the tax law, okay? So the tax law has included a lot of reliefs, tax holidays, and other benefits freely available to everyone to employ in planning our finances. Financial awareness is beneficial when it comes to tax planning, and also tax planning is very necessary for one to be able to plan their finances. A financially savvy individual is required to comprehend the intricacies of tax planning. That tax planning becomes simple for an informed individual. With financial knowledge, one learns how to take advantage of the numerous allowed exemptions, such as refunds, exclusions, personal reliefs, and so on, provided for in the tax law in order to minimize their tax exposures. Tax planning, let me explain, is basically analyzing one's own financial status from a tax viewpoint and preparing in such a manner that their tax effects are reduced or minimized. Of course, we don't want to overpay tax, do we? Especially those of us working in this group, we don't want to overpay tax. Okay. When one engages in tax planning, the following benefits may accrue to such a person, either being an individual or a body corporate. And the first one will be that accurate calculation of your taxes, will prevent you overpaying taxes. Okay, as an individual or a company, if you wrongly calculate your taxes for the month or for the year and you pay to GRA, it's difficult to get money back from government, and that will be money that you would have lost. So accurate calculation is very important and key. Again, your tax knowledge will help you to avoid the payment of penalty and interest. Okay, because if you're able to calculate your tax correctly, you are able to pay the right amount and you are not being charged penalty for under declaring or not paying at all. And that's a lot of money. For instance, if you are looking at personal taxes, it's about 125% of central bank, rate. And it's a lot of money we pay as a result of non-compliance. Sometimes you talk to people and they want to avoid, they don't want to hear anything to do with tax. But when you don't comply, you are happy to pay the penalty, which is a lot. So why don't we avoid paying the penalty, comply, and then we don't pay the penalty? Again, it saves us from litigation. You hear companies go to court because they've been wrongfully assessed or they under-declare, and we know how costly litigation is. Even the time, I think Madam Doris talked about time and something else. The time you spend going to court and all that, you could use it to do something meaningful. So it saves us the time as well, and then the litigation is prevented. And again, it helps us contribute to economic growth and development. All of us here, we want good roads, we want hospitals and all that. But if we don't pay the right taxes, how is government able to do all this? So it's also a benefit to us. And then money saved rightly from not paying penalty for not overpaying could be invested smartly. And prudent investment, I believe, will earn prudent return, which will go a long way to help you. Ladies and gentlemen, the Ghana tax law provides various tax incentive, release, and exemption packages, among others, for everyone, everyone that wants to take advantage. The laws are available to everyone to read and take advantage of all the incentives we are talking about here. Most often, many professionals who work in other areas other than finance finds it difficult to comprehend accounting processes, including taxation, which impacts their ability to employ tax knowledge in planning their own finances. We may have a lot of professionals well trained, but they lack the knowledge to plan their finances from a tax point of view, from tax perspective. And that is what we are discussing here. I'm happy to join you. Deloitte is on board, and our team are happy to educate Ghanaians on tax planning from tax perspective. Now, I will touch on few available reliefs to individuals. We will look at that for companies as well. But as individuals, when we go back, we want to engage with our HR team that process our payroll, or if it's finance, we want to engage with them. I have this thing. Have I taken advantage of it? How do I take advantage? I'll run you through a couple, and then when time permits, we can do a detailed one later. So, personal release. As provided for in Section 51 of the Income Tax Act 2015 at 896, the following reliefs could be applied upfront upon application and approval by the Commissioner General. First, dependent spouse or dependent children relief. So dependent spouse means your spouse is not working, so you are taking care of the home, okay? In the case of an individual who has a dependent spouse or at least 2 dependent children, the individual is entitled to personal relief of 1,200 currency points, which is 1,200 Ghana cedi. Disability relief. So in the case of an individual who has a disability, that individual is entitled to a personal relief of 25% of the accessible income. So 25% of the person's earnings or accessible income is given as a relief. So you pay tax on half of your earning. That's someone who is disabled, okay? Old age relief. In the case of an individual who is 60 years of age and above, that individual is entitled to a personal relief of 1,500 currency points. So individuals who are 60 years and above, who are on pension, okay, and still engaged in productive activities, you have to pay tax. But we are saying there's some level of relief available to such individuals. So you have to be aware, you have to know this is available in order to take advantage of it. Child education relief. In the case of an individual who is sponsoring the education of the child or ward in a recognized registered educational institution in the country, that individual is entitled to a personal relief of 600 currency points per child, up to a maximum of 3 children. Age dependence relief. So in the case of an individual who has a dependent relative other than a child or spouse who is 60 years of age or more, that individual is entitled to a personal relief of 1,000 Ghana cedi or 1,000 currency points per year, okay? But that individual may claim the relief in respect of just 2 dependents. So like your mother and your father that are not working, that you are taking care of, you have this relief. So by the time you put all this together, you realize it's not that much, but it will reduce your taxes for the year or for the month, Now there's something interesting here as well. Cost of training relief. So professionals that may spend their money in training themselves or all that, there's a relief available for you. In the case of an individual who has undergone training to undertake the professional, technical or vocational skill or knowledge of that individual, that person is entitled to a personal relief of 2,000 currency points. Mortgage interest. This is another interesting one. An individual may deduct mortgage interest in respect of one residential property during the course of that person's lifetime. So what he's saying is that, assuming you went for mortgage, for a house, and you are paying interest in this day where the cedi has depreciated and the interest is so high, that interest could be a relief. It will be deducted from your chargeable income before tax is calculated, which means you pay a reduced tax as compared to not taking advantage of all those benefits and reliefs available in the tax law. Again, the tax law has also provided tax incentives available for businesses. Okay, this information is important for persons who wish to go into business. Once awareness of available incentives for businesses could guide the type of business venture they would want to undertake. Okay, then we have tax holidays. Tax holidays are granted from the time operation commences for companies in the following sector. So agricultural enterprises, agro-processing, waste management companies, rural banks pay a corporate tax of 1% as against the regular corporate tax of 25%. Okay, for a period of 5 to 10 years. So for a period of 5 to 10 years, your tax rate will just be 1%. And you have to be aware that this, holiday exists. Otherwise, any, GRA person could walk in there, use 25% to calculate your taxes. And if you're ignorant, you go ahead and make that payment. But we are saying the individuals charged with responsibility as our finance managers should be aware of these reliefs and benefits to businesses. So the low cost, housing will have to be certified by Ministry of Housing. Okay, so that you have to take a step to get that certification, and then you pay tax of just 1% as against the usual tax rate of 25%. Then we have something called free zone enclaves. Okay, so free zone enterprises are exempted from corporate tax for the first 10 years. So if you register as a free zone enterprise, you will not pay tax for 10 years. And I believe this knowledge is important for individuals that want to undertake a business venture, to be guided. Where do I invest? What do I go into? Which area, which sector? And so tax knowledge becomes very important in deciding on what you would want to do. Export of non-traditional products. A reduced corporate tax rate of 8% is available for businesses engaged in non-traditional. This product includes horticultural products and raw agricultural products grown in Ghana other than cocoa beans, wood products other than lumber and logs, handicrafts and locally manufactured goods. Another interesting point, young entrepreneur incentive. I believe we may have heard this, was it last year or 2 years, budget statements. So entrepreneurs aged 35 years and below are granted 5-year tax holiday if they engage in the following: manufacturing, information and communication technology, agro-processing, energy production, waste processing, tourism and creative arts, horticulture, and medicinal plant businesses. So what we are saying is that after the 5 years of no paying tax, you could go and renegotiate and even have a rebate of about 5 to 15% for the next 5 years. So by the end of the 10th year, your company will be able to stand on its foot to start paying corporate tax at 25%. But this is good knowledge for us to know, so that you don't go and pay tax when you are not supposed to be paying tax. Then there's an element of employment of fresh graduates. Businesses that employ fresh graduates receive additional tax deduction for employing new graduates as part of their workforce, which ranges from 10 to 50% of the salaries or wages of such employees. The benefit from this is a reduction in the effective tax paid by such businesses. Then we have what we call location-based incentives. Ladies and gentlemen, the Act provides tax incentives for specified companies engaged in specific business activities under the tax law, A reduced corporate tax rates are provided for manufacturing companies based on the location of the company. A reduced rate of 18.5 as against the 25% for manufacturing businesses located in regional capitals other than Accra and Tema. So if you want to locate your business to benefit from this, there should be somewhere else outside Accra and Tema. In the case of manufacturing businesses located elsewhere in Ghana, other than regional capitals, a reduced corporate income tax rate of 12%, 12.5% is applicable. I can go on and on, but to end my speech, I must say financial knowledge is critical for individuals and companies to minimize their tax exposure, and save income for prudent investment, because you need to save it first before you can invest. And if you are paying it, we are not saying don't pay your taxes, but you should pay the right taxes so that you don't overpay. And as we pay our taxes, we contribute to nation development, and then the economy is stabilized, isn't it? So I will encourage all of us to participate in this initiative and educate someone. Just when you go back to your homes or the marketplace or your offices, talk to someone, talk to 2 or 3 people, find out what tax planning, initiatives they are engaged in, and you can educate someone. I must commend the Center for Financial Literacy Education Africa for such a great initiative, to create awareness on the need for financial education in Ghana. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Madam Gloria. So today when I go to the office, I'm going to ask my people about the professional relief. I'm a professional, so I want to go and find out whether they can help me get that relief so that some money will come into my pocket, right? Oh, awesome. So